All right, Shalom. First off, give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakar Kadash. A double honor to the apostles and elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring, in truth and sincerity, and the women and children who follow. So, with everything going on right now, it's a lot of sporting events this weekend. So it just, this quote came to mind. So I just wanted to, do this lesson on it. Like I said, it's a lot of sporting events. You had the Game 4 last night in the NBA Finals. You had the Stanley Cup with the hockey earlier this week. It's a lot of boxing fights this weekend. From Bud Crawford to Charlo to Santa Cruz to Tyson Fury. You got a lot of big names. Like I said, a lot of events this week. You even had tennis events. So baseball, of course, baseball is in full swing. With that being said, there's a old quote that I want to get. So this is from the Wikipedia. It says, bread and circuses. Bread and circuses is a figure of speech specifically referring to a superficial means appeasement as a metonymic. The phrase originated by Juvenal, the Roman poet, active in the late 1st and early 2nd century AD, is used in commonly cultural, particularly political contexts. In a political context, the phrase means to generate public approval, not by excellence in public service or by public policy, but by diversion, by distraction, or by satisfying the most immediate or base requirements of a populace, by offering a palliative, for example, food or bread or entertainment, circuses. So what they're basically saying is, if we can give them, food, give them something to eat, for their belly, so to speak, or entertainment, a circus, you got the beef with Drake and Pusha T, you have of course all these TV shows and all that bullshit, all these sporting events, all that's is so-called entertainment. You got the wrestling, WWE, all this is nothing but it's a circus act, really, man. At the end of the day, because what did they have back in those ancient days? They had the Coliseum. They had the Olympics, and we still have those big Coliseum-style arenas today, whether they be the football stadiums or the dome arenas or whatever you have. It's the same thing, and it's the same concept. And the whole idea is to keep the masses of the people asleep, a distraction. It's all about a distraction. Okay, it says distraction, it says, is the process of diverting the attention of an individual group from a desired area of focus, thereby blocking or diminishing the reception of desired information. What's that desired information? That America's going to be destroyed? That is going into a third world war? Okay? Trump is doing an excellent job in leading us into this third world war. So you have our people focus on these distractions, not looking at the real future of America. That's not going on in Russia. Russia's telling its people to prepare for war, to prepare for war, to prepare for nuclear war. That message ain't came out here in America. Why is that? Because they don't care about the people. They want the wool over your eyes, okay? You're led as a flock to the slaughter. That's what's going on in America. Okay? Let me see if there's any more. It says distraction is caused by the lack of ability to pay attention, the lack of interest in an object of attention, or greatly intensely, or the greatly intensity. Okay, so they're not making geopolitics or anything like that palatable anyways. Okay? Nobody wants to, you have a few people that, have intellectual conversations or, geopolitical conversations here and there, but the everyday person is not watching C-SPAN. All right, they not paying attention to what the dollar's doing. They mad as fuck when they see the gas prices going up, but they don't know what's the cause and effect of it. All they know is, you know what I'm saying, make America great again. Well, how is Trump going to do this, make America great again? Because that's what he's in the process of doing. He's bringing down America to the lowest part to the lowest place it's been since the Great Depression, and it's going to be lower. Okay? According to the scriptures, we know that it's going to be a day that never was and never will be again. Like I said, the distraction is caused by the lack of ability to pay attention, the lack of interest in the object of attention. Nobody has interest in what's really going on. Okay? So we're gonna go to Rome. It says the phrase originates from Rome in Satire 10 of the Roman satirical poet Juvenal. It says, in context, the Latin panem e centeres, it says that's Braden Circuses, identifies the only remaining cares of a Roman populace which no longer cares for its historical birthrights of political involvement, which that's also here in America, because historically, the common man had a word or had a place. You vote your people in, but that's not even so, because you have the what's it called, oh man, it's gonna kill me until I get this. I'm gonna come back to it. You're not electing your leaders. It's called the electoral college. You have the electoral college that actually selects or that elects the president, not the people. You have so-called people that have won the popular vote but didn't get the presidency, because there's a system set up in place. And, it's both sides of the same coin. Anyways, but besides that, that was, your so-called birthright here in this country, is to elect your leaders and to be able to be elected for leadership. But, even that's a crapshoot, because I could never run for president. Why? Because I don't have the money to do it. It's all about money and where you from and who who you're related to. Okay, so it says here, Juvenal displays his contempt for the dealing of heroism of contemporary Romans, using a range of different themes, including a lust for power and desire for old age, to illustrate his argument. Roman politicians passed laws in 140 BC to keep the votes of poor citizens by introducing a grain dole, giving out cheap food and entertainment. All right, what's that? That's fucking that's your welfare programs. That's your SNAP program, the food stamps. Okay? WIC, all of that shit, that's all your bread. Okay? Section 8, that's all bread, giving out cheap services, man, helping the poor people to so-called make it without giving. Basically, it's helping them out by not letting them help themselves, because it's a lot of people that's out here doing it by themselves that's still struggling, that if they were getting these same benefits, that they would excel, or they would be able to get a foot up and live. But if you on these different programs, you're not able to make a certain amount of money or do certain things, keep a man in the house, this, that, and the third, and they're designed to keep you shackled down in that sense. And the entertainment, we already went through that, all these different events that's going on. But they used that, it says, it became the most effective way to rise to power. So that's how America has risen to power, by keeping the people dumb. Okay, we'll give you all these entitlement programs, give you something to watch on TV, Bad Girls Club, okay, Game of Thrones, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, whatever you like to watch. Power, you know, you might like fucking a Lifetime movie or whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Whatever to put the wool over your eyes, to keep you dumb and dull, so that, you know, they can pass all these laws without you even knowing, that's going to help to take you over, to put you in a concentration camp, to lead you to the chip, man. That's all that's going on. All right, so I'm going to read this this quote right here, and I'll probably just close it. It says, already long ago, from when we sold our vote to no man, the people abdicated our duties for the people who once upon a time handed out military command, high civil office, legions, says everything, now restrains itself and anxiously hopes for just two things, bread and circuses. All right, that's all the people want, man. And it was actually a quote on Game of Thrones. He said, give the people food and games and they'll never revolt. Okay, the people were starving, and basically it was a wartime. It was wartime, and they needed funding, so they went to another house to get funding, and they were going to join their houses together. The second house, they had soldiers, and they had it was a lot of food grown in their land, so they were able to feed the people of the capital. Okay, but the crown was going broke, so they really needed them. So they said, okay, that's cool. What we need to do, we don't need to make a. They were, like I said, they were joining their houses. They were marrying the daughter with the son, and they couldn't afford the wedding. They were going to do a big fancy wedding, and you know, one of the people wanted to make the wedding a lot smaller. So he was like, you know what I'm saying, we need to downsize. So she said, no, if we downsize, that's not going to be a good thing. Look at the people. They're ready to tear off your head pretty much. Okay? We need to give them food and give them games. Okay? Give them distractions. The royal wedding is nothing but a big distraction. Okay? If we give them food and we give them games, they'll never revolt. They'll have nothing, as long as, you know, if you got food in your belly and a nice place to lay your head, something to keep you entertained, you're not going to worry about all the finite details, you know, what's coming out your check, you know, all the bullshit that goes on in politics. You're not worried about that shit because you content in your life. All right, and that's mainly what it's about. It's about people are content in America, okay? And, you know, that's bullshit, man. Because this says this is not our rest. But, you know, with that being said, you know, I hope you brothers are edified. I want to give all praise that's called out to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rakal Kedash, double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring, and truth.